Okay, so you hear about modern dating, and sometimes you just think like, nah, there's no way it's actually that crazy.
Right.
But then you see a statistic like 45% of men between 18 and 25 have never even approached a woman in person.
Wow.
Never.
Yeah.
Like, it really makes you wonder what's going on out there.
It really does. I mean, it suggests that maybe something has fundamentally shifted in the dating landscape, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, are people just that much more reliant on screens and apps and all of that?
It really does feel like things have gone digital in a big way, and we're going to dive into that today with some real-life examples.
I'm intrigued.
So we've been looking at this YouTube video by Shuna Head called The Female Dating Strategy.
Oh?
And also checking out some of the reactions to it from another creator, Nuxanor, who made a video called Woke Feminists Are 100% Effed Now.
Okay, so we're getting into some potentially spicy territory here.
Definitely. And we want to unpack all of this, what's going on in these interactions, the weird stuff, the unexpected stuff,
right,
and try to figure out what it tells us about dating today, expectations, frustrations.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking everything from initial messages to reactions to rejection and, just some flat-out bizarre behavior.
So a real mixed bag then, a bit of a grab bag of modern dating.
A grab bag, for sure.
And it's important to remember, though, right, that these are specific examples we're looking at.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean everyone's dating life is like this,
right,
but they do offer a window into certain trends and behaviors you see online.
A window into the dating Wild West, maybe?
Perhaps.
Okay, so one thing that really jumped out at us was the way some people just go straight for it. Like, no messing around, super direct. Like, one example we saw was a woman messaging a guy saying, send me a sick pic on SC, we were having a riz off.
Wow. Okay, so no beating around the bush there, straight to the point.
Right. It makes you think, like, is this a new kind of confidence, or is it maybe a bit much?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it definitely challenges the traditional kind of slow burn approach to getting to know someone.
Definitely. And you wonder if starting out that strong sets a certain tone for how things might go.
It could, yeah. I mean, if you're coming in hot from the get-go, what happens when things don't go exactly as you plan?
And that's where things got really interesting. We saw some pretty intense reactions to rejection.
Oh, really?
Like, one woman, after a date, she didn't actually said she hoped the guy would die in a car fire.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That's a little extreme.
That's a bit much, right? It's like, what's going on that a bad date would trigger such a strong response?
I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but it makes you think about emotional regulation. Maybe the anonymity of online interactions plays a role.
Right. Like, maybe people feel more free to say things they wouldn't in person.
It's possible. And this disconnect between putting yourself out there so boldly and then reacting so poorly when things don't go your way.
Exactly.
That's an interesting dynamic.
And this wasn't just one instance. We saw a pattern of these strong reactions. Like another woman, when a guy politely declined her coffee invitation, she just went off on him saying, Elo, you're not even worth my time.
But she was the one who asked him out.
Exactly. It's like being turned down, even gently, is seen as this huge insult.
It's almost like a defense mechanism, isn't it? You get rejected, so you immediately try to devalue the other person.
Yeah, make it seem like you weren't really that interested anyway.
Exactly. Protect the ego.
And then there was this whole thing about gifts.
Oh, right. This is a good one.
This woman got flowers after a date, and she was not impressed at all.
She didn't like the flowers.
Nope. Not enough. Apparently, she even went on about how flowers are useless and how she needs to be treated like a queen.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like she has some pretty high expectations.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder, has dating become more transactional? Is it less about the connection and more about what you get out of it?
It's an interesting question, right? Especially with social media, where everything is about showing off the perfect date, the perfect gift.
It's like dating for the Kim. Okay, so let's talk more about this theme of rejection. It came up again and again.
Okay.
People getting really upset when they're turned down and often saying, I wasn't interested anyway, even though they were the ones who initiated contact.
Yeah, classic backpedaling, trying to save face.
Why do you think that is? Why this need to pretend you weren't really into it?
I think it's about protecting yourself from feeling vulnerable, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You put yourself out there,
mm-hmm.
you get rejected, it hurts, so you try to downplay it.
Right. It's not a big deal. I didn't really care anymore.
Exactly.
But some of these reactions went way beyond just trying to save face.
Oh.
We saw some really manipulative behavior, even threat.
Really?
Like this one lesbian who got rejected and started talking about a bridge and her deceased father.
Oh, wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. That's not okay. It's like she's trying to guilt the other person into dating her.
Yeah, that's emotional manipulation. And it's really not fair to put that kind of pressure on someone.
And it wasn't just women doing this either. There was this guy who politely turned down a woman, and she just started insulting his body, calling him steroid dick.
Oh, wow. So it cuts both ways then.
Yeah, this kind of lashing out after rejection, it can come from anyone.
True. It's important to remember that these dynamics aren't limited to one gender.
Right.
Hurt feelings can lead to some pretty unfortunate behavior, regardless of who you are.
Absolutely. Now let's get into some of the double standards that came up.
Okay, this is always a fun topic.
One that really stood out was this woman who demanded to know a guy's height, which was already in his bio.
Okay.
But then when he asked about her waist circumference, she got all offended, like, why does it matter?
So she wants to know his height, but her waist size is off limits.
Exactly. It's like a major double standard. You can ask about certain physical attributes, but others are completely unacceptable.
And it makes you wonder about the underlying thinking there. Is it just a sense of entitlement, like my preferences matter, but yours don't?
Yeah. And it gets even more complicated with this user who said women can't objectify men because of systemic oppression.
Really?
But literally right after that, she objectified a man saying he had small peen energy.
So she's saying women can't objectify men, but then proceeds to do exactly that.
Yep. It's like this weird mental gymnastics where she's trying to have it both ways.
A bit of a logical pretzel.
And then there was the music playlist saga.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that one.
So this woman criticized a guy's playlist for not being diverse enough.
Okay.
Because it was mostly white male artists. And when he disagreed, she threatened to contact his booking agent.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it went from 0 to 100 real quick.
So she didn't like his music taste, and her response was to try to get him in trouble professionally.
It's like this weird mix of personal opinion and some kind of moral crusade, and then just taking it way too far.
It's almost like she feels entitled to police his musical taste and then punish him for not complying.
It's bizarre, right? Like, how did we even get here?
Online interactions, they can be a strange and wonderful thing.
Okay, so we also came across some stuff that was just flat out weird. Like, I don't even know how to describe it.
Like what?
Like a request to put someone's testicles in nostrils.
Okay, I'm officially speechless.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that one.
I mean, it's a reminder that the internet is a vast and strange place.
For sure.
And online dating, it's like this microcosm of that weirdness amplified.
Absolutely. And then there was the unsolicited, explicit content. I mean, sending someone a sex video without their consent, not okay.
No, absolutely not. Consent is crucial in any interaction, especially when it comes to something like that.
Right. It's a complete violation of boundaries.
And it shows a real lack of respect for the other person.
Totally. And we even saw this one message where someone clearly freaked out mid-message and then edited it to sound calmer.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, like you can almost picture them panicking and hitting the backspace key frantically.
It's a reminder that so much of online communication is curated. It's all about presenting this perfect image.
And sometimes that facade cracks. And then there was this amazing About Me section that was full of contradictions like crazy, anti-feminist, addicted to Nutella, old-fashioned, always right.
Oh my gosh. It's like they were trying to repel everyone.
Or maybe attract a very specific kind of person.
The Nutella-living anti-feminist type.
Exact.
It's a bold stratus.
Okay, so let's talk about Nuxanor's take on all of this. He had a pretty strong reaction, saying that these examples show how women are basically self-destructing because of all this virtue signaling and entitlement.
Right, so he's seeing this as part of a bigger cultural trend.
Yeah, and he's pretty critical of it.
Which is his perspective, and it's a valid one to consider. But it's also important to remember that this is just one interpretation of these events.
Exactly. And there's the counter-argument, too, right? That these might just be extreme cases, a small but loud minority.
Right. I mean, you can't generalize about all women based on a handful of online interactions.
Exactly. Our goal here isn't to take sides or make sweeping judgments. It's more about observing and trying to understand what's going on.
Yeah, trying to make sense of the strange new world of dating.
And speaking of strange, I have to mention this. It was so jarring to hear Henson shaving mentioned in the middle of Schoonhead's video.
Oh, yeah. That's like...
It was like this completely normal ad for razors sandwiched between all this crazy dating drama.
It's like a reminder that even in this wild world of online dating, real life still exists.
Right. People still need to shave.
Exactly.
Okay, so to wrap up, what are some of the big takeaways from all of this for you?
I think the main thing that struck me was the sheer range of behavior. We saw everything from super assertive approaches to really aggressive reactions to rejection.
Yeah, that was definitely.
And also the double standards, the sense of entitlement, and then just the bizarre stuff that you can't even categorize.
Right, like the testicle request.
Yeah, that one's going to stay with me for a while.
What do you think all of this says about dating today?
I think it shows how online platforms can really amplify both the good and the bad aspects of human interaction. And it highlights how people are navigating this new landscape with all sorts of different expectations and ways of communicating.
Right. And some people are handling it better than others.
For sure.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. What do these online dating interactions tell us about how we're searching for connection in a digital world?
Right.
Are these just isolated weird cases, or do they point to bigger shifts in how we relate to each other?
I mean, are we losing some of our empathy? Are we becoming more entitled, more self-centered?
It's a big question, and there are no easy answers.
No, but it's worth thinking about.
Definitely. So we encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. What have you seen in the dating world?
Right. Have you encountered any of these dynamics yourself?
What do you think all of this means for the future of relationship?
It's a fascinating topic, and we've only just scratched the surface.
So until next time, keep your eyes open and your wits about you out there in the digital dating jungle.
And maybe keep some Nutella on hand just in case.
You never know.
You never know.